Hi everyone. So today I want to talk about homeopathy. This is the topic which is not new. It's been covered in many details by other people, researchers, and YouTube channels. So I will not go over a lot of things. I just want to focus on the main points and direct you to the sources I feel like are useful to discover this in more detail. So homeopathy is basically a theory which was proposed many years ago by this guy in late 18th century. So his main kind of idea was not to deceive people, but actually help them. That long ago, science was not that advanced, and it was mainly based on observational evidence, which comes from basically looking and analyzing what you see. Now it's known to be not really reliable, but that was the best method back then. The main idea of homeopathy is curing like with like, but in extremely diluted form. So, for example, if you get poison, you treat it with similar poison. If you have fever, you treat it with something which causes fever, but at a really low concentration. And it's a good theory, but it was proven to be false, like it doesn't work basically, because the substances are so diluted that you can basically just pour water from the tap and it's still going to be the same concentration. What they do is they take a substance, for example, 1 part of a substance and 10 parts of water. They mix it together. Then they take 1 part of this into another container, mix it with water, and do this several times. And each time the dilution, if it's 10, 1 part substance, 1 part water, it gets diluted 10 times each time, which gets to large numbers quite quickly. If you want to have a more visual kind of explanation covered in more detail, I recommend to watch this video. I will link it in description underneath. I really like this channel. So it's a German, I don't know where it's from, but it's a really good channel. They explain everything in a lot of detail, and basically all of the things I say are referenced here as well. So you can click here for sources, and all of the references are here. They include a really famous Australian study. Here it is. It doesn't open for some reason, but here it is. There's a lot of information about everything you might need to know. But yes, I'll leave a video in the description on this video. Another thing which they claim is that since these dilutions, like if you say to homeopathy practitioners that the solutions get too diluted to include any substance, they say that water molecules, if you can imagine, that's a water molecule, oxygen, hydrogen, and hydrogen. They say if you put a certain substance, then these water molecules will surround the substance. They will surround the substance, which does actually happen because they form interactions and bonds with the substance. And if you remove the substance, this rubber is too small, but you get the idea. The water molecules will preserve this shape, and even without the substance it will still have a beneficial effect in the body, because water will somehow, do something. That's not true, because water is very dynamic molecule, like a bunch of molecules in a liquid state. They form interactions with each other and with everything else around them all the time, and they don't preserve anything like what was there before for significant amounts of time, because they have no reason to do that. And even if they did, then the amount of things they interacted throughout their lifetime is so big, there would be like this new substance which they added wouldn't make any difference really. So this doctor's original idea was obviously to help people. He didn't mean to harm them, but we now know from numerous studies, as I said, you can look at all the links in the YouTube video, that it turned out not to be a real theory, a valid theory. It is effective, but it turned out to be not more effective than placebo. Which brings me to my next point, which I want to mention in this video, is that placebo levels of effectiveness are actually valid, and it does not mean that homeopathy does not have an effect. It's just that this effect, if you compare it, like the homeopathy's effect, if you compare it to this effect is real. The homeopathy does have an effect if you compare it to doing nothing and just sitting and looking at the wall. It's just this effect is not significantly greater than the effect you would get from taking pills made from pure sugar or plastic or whatever inert substance which is irrelevant to the condition and does not have any active effect. In other words, homeopathy medications have the same effect as medications without any active components, and therefore homeopathy is not an active component, and you will achieve the same result without including homeopathy at all. So sure, homeopathy practitioners can argue that it does have an effect because it's true, but this effect is nothing what comes from homeopathy. It's just what people believe. They believe that this effect will occur, and therefore it does. It is more effective than doing nothing, and it definitely does not do you any harm in terms of the actual medication, because it's literally nothing you're taking. So the problem is that no one really knows what placebo is and how it works, so it's really hard to directly argue with these people, because it's quite difficult to talk about a topic neither one of you knows a lot about, because there is just not enough available evidence. It is a recognized thing, and that's why placebo is always included in trials when you're comparing effect of a drug. Like if you're looking to see if a drug has an actual effect, you always, most of the time, you use placebo as a control. So you compare effect of the drug, effect of homeopathy in this case, or any other drug, to placebo. And if the drug has more effect than placebo, if it's, like this, and you see that this difference is actually large enough, then you can say that the drug does have an effect. But in this case, homeopathy as a drug does not have an effect. As I said, I just wanted to cover the main points which you would see in this video, and I just wanted to explain them in a bit more detail. But I really recommend you to watch this video right now. It's only 8 minutes. You can speed it up or whatever, but it's very well structured, and you can see all the points I mentioned here presented in a bit less detail, but they cover more things. Thanks for listening and watching this video. Please leave your comments below and any feedback, questions which you might have. I'll be happy to answer them. Bye.